Re-editing texts. Let's talk about your Olympic-level talent for rewriting messages until they sound normal, whatever that means. Most people fire off texts like they're tossing popcorn into the air and hoping some lands in their mouth. Meanwhile, you're conducting a full linguistic autopsy on whether sounds good is too enthusiastic, too passive, or secretly communicates lifelong devotion. This isn't neurosis. It's advanced social prediction. Studies on pragmatic inference and high-acuity language processing show that people with stronger analytical and verbal reasoning naturally anticipate how different readers might interpret the same sentence. Your brain doesn't just send a message. It runs a simulation. Tone, timing, punctuation, potential emotional fallout, all evaluated with high intensity. The irony? You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to avoid misunderstandings because you actually know how easily humans miscommunicate. Your mind spots ambiguity faster than spell check spots typos, so you refine, polish, and rearrange until the message feels smooth, balanced, and socially safe. Crisis clarity. Here's the paradox everyone around you notices, but can't explain. Ask you to pick a sandwich and your brain melts like a knocked-over Jenga tower. But drop you into an emergency, a real one, with stakes, chaos, and people panicking. And suddenly, you transform into the calmest human alive. It's not magic. It's cognitive load allocation. Small decisions feel overwhelming because your brain treats them like branching choice flowcharts with infinite outcomes. Too many trivial variables, not enough meaningful context. So your mind spins, stalls, and quietly whispers, "I hate it here." But when does something actually matter? Your system snaps into executive function overdrive. Research on threat-induced cognitive sharpening shows that some people's working memory and analytical reasoning jump dramatically under stress. That's you. Your brain loves clarity, and crises strip away all the noise. No hypothetical scenarios, no social guessing games, just objective problems and clear solutions. So while everyone else panics, you're calmly sorting steps, delegating tasks, and mentally color-coding priorities like some kind of crisis accountant. What if thinking? Your brain is basically a movie studio that never stops producing alternate universe content. While most people coast through the day on autopilot, you're quietly running scenario after scenario. What if I leave 5 minutes later? What if that meeting goes sideways? What if the economy collapses, but also I still need groceries? It sounds exhausting, but it's actually a sign of high-level predictive reasoning. Cognitive psychologists call this prospective simulation, the mind's ability to test out possible futures before committing to action. People with strong analytical and creative networks do this automatically, like their mental hardware came preloaded with a risk assessment expansion pack. You're not catastrophizing, you're optimizing. Each mini what-if helps you prepare, fine-tune expectations, and make faster decisions when things actually happen. And here's the funny part. Your brain doesn't even wait for something important. It'll happily analyze whether to bring a jacket with the same intensity NASA uses to launch rockets. But that tendency to pre-run life's levels means you navigate the real world with fewer surprises, fewer mistakes, and way more strategic clarity. Pattern recognition. Some people walk into a room and notice the furniture. You walk in and notice the underlying psychological geometry of the entire situation. Your brain is a pattern spotting machine, always scanning, sorting, and linking bits of information that seem completely unrelated to everyone else. While most people see random dots, you quietly go, "Oh, those actually form a constellation shaped like a tax audit." This isn't quirky intuition. It's a hallmark of high-level analytical processing. Research on implicit pattern learning shows that smarter thinkers often detect structure before they can consciously explain it. Your mind picks up on repetition, rhythm, inconsistencies, emotional cues, micro-behaviors, all the background noise that isn't really noise to you. And once the pattern clicks, it's hard to unsee. This ability is why you're good at predicting outcomes, understanding people faster than they realize, and noticing when something feels off, way before others do. It's not magic, and it's not paranoia. It's your cognitive wiring quietly running advanced diagnostics in real time. Analogy mind. You know how some people give directions like, turn left at the light? Meanwhile, you're over here, explaining everything through metaphors. YouVersion sounds like, okay, imagine the road is a lazy river and you're the inflatable flamingo. You don't do this because you're dramatic. You do it because your brain naturally translates abstract ideas into vivid, graspable shapes. Literal explanations feel flat to you, like trying to describe a symphony using only a dial-up modem. Psychologists link this tendency to strong relational reasoning, the ability to understand concepts by mapping them onto familiar structures. Smart thinkers do this instinctively. It's not just communication, it's cognitive compression. Metaphors make complicated ideas efficient, memorable, and way more fun to explain. And honestly, you get bored with plain descriptions. Your mind wants color, texture, analogy, the kind of explanation that snaps everything into place. So while other people use 20 sentences, you use one metaphor and suddenly everyone goes, "Oh, why didn't anyone say that earlier?" Deep curiosity. Your curiosity doesn't spark, it detonates. 1 minute, you're casually wondering how mechanical watches work, and suddenly you're 3 hours deep into a documentary about Swiss skier ratios. This isn't a lack of focus. It's the opposite. It's called intellectual immersion, and research on high curiosity individuals shows they absorb information faster because their brains release more dopamine during learning. Translation. Your mind treats knowledge like a reward. Most people nibble on interests, you devour them. And it doesn't matter if the topic is ancient navigation techniques, mushroom biology, or why pigeons walk the way they do. If something pokes your brain with even mild intrigue, you fall into a research rabbit hole so deep you might as well set up a mailbox. This habit is actually a huge marker of intelligence. Deep dives build wide-ranging knowledge networks, meaning you connect ideas across fields without even trying. That's why your useless facts end up being weirdly helpful in real conversations. Burst motivation. Your motivation has the same schedule as a mischievous raccoon: unpredictable, nocturnal, and deeply inconvenient. You'll spend all day feeling like a damp tortilla, then suddenly at 11:47 p.m., your brain decides it's the perfect moment to reorganize your entire life, rewrite a business plan, and maybe learn Celtic knotwork. This isn't chaos. It's how insight-driven thinkers operate. Research on creative incubation shows that the brain often solves problems in the background, then sends up a signal flare when the solution finally clicks. Those random bursts are actually breakthroughs surfacing. Your mind isn't lazy, it's strategic. It waits until it has something good before turning the power back on. And yes, it tends to happen at bizarre hours because that's when distractions drop and your cognitive networks can finally stretch out, like they're claiming the whole couch. The result? Sudden clarity, sudden energy, sudden urge to become a productivity goblin. Micro-weird rituals. You know those tiny hyper-specific habits you do, the exact way you line up your keys, the ritualistic pre-work checklist, the "I must drink water before opening my laptop or civilization collapses" rule? From the outside, it looks quirky. From the inside, it's cognitive housekeeping. These micro-rituals help your brain reduce noise, stabilize attention, and create a predictable launchpad for thinking. Psychologists call this cognitive offloading, using small routines to free up mental resources so your working memory can focus on real problems instead of wondering where you put your charger again. Smart people do this instinctively because their brains are juggling bigger, heavier thoughts. The rituals act like little mental bookmarks that keep everything in place, and these routines stick around even when no one else gets them. Not because you're stubborn, but because they work. They make your mind feel anchored, calibrated, and ready. Logic sensitivity. For you, bad logic isn't just annoying, it's viscerally uncomfortable, like someone playing the wrong piano note on repeat. When an argument contradicts itself, or a conclusion doesn't follow from the evidence, your whole brain flinches. You're not being dramatic. You're experiencing what researchers call cognitive coherence sensitivity, a heightened need for ideas to line up, click together, and actually make sense. While most people casually glide past contradictions, your mind slams the brakes. You can't not notice. It's the same instinct that makes you great at troubleshooting, debating, or spotting flaws in plans before they become disasters. You're basically allergic to sloppy reasoning. Your intellectual immune system rejects it on sight. And yes, it can make conversations challenging. You hear someone say, "Well, technically both things can be true," when they definitely can't, and suddenly your soul is doing gymnastics trying not to react. But that sensitivity also means you build stronger arguments, think more clearly, and avoid the mental potholes everyone else trips over, asking stupid questions. You have a special talent for asking questions so basic that the entire room pauses, rethinks their life, and occasionally needs to sit down. You'll ask something like, "Wait, why do we do it that way?" And suddenly everyone realizes they have no idea. That's because your brain isn't satisfied with inherited assumptions. You poke at foundations. You test the default settings. You're basically the software update no one asked for but everyone secretly needed. This habit comes from what psychologists call epistemic curiosity, the drive to understand not just what is true, but why it's true. Smart thinkers do this naturally. What others dismiss as obvious, you treat like an unsolved puzzle. And those so-called stupid questions? They often reveal hidden flaws, missing logic, or outdated beliefs lurking underneath the surface. People sometimes laugh at your questions, right up until they realize you've just exposed the weak link in their whole argument. Asking simple things takes guts, clarity, and a brain that isn't hypnotized by tradition. Wearing the same outfit. People think you wear the same outfit because you're lazy, unstylish, or deeply committed to looking like a video game NPC. But the truth is far more strategic. You've hacked the decision-making system. Psychologists call this decision fatigue, the mental drain that comes from making too many choices in a day. Smart people bypass that entirely by eliminating trivial decisions, so their brain power can go somewhere useful. You're not dressing simple, you're conserving cognitive fuel. Steve Jobs, Einstein, Barack Obama, all fans of the uniform approach. Not because it's trendy, but because it frees their mental bandwidth for thinking, creating, problem-solving, and occasionally questioning the meaning of existence. Your outfit becomes one less variable, one less friction point, one less "should I wear the blue one?" spiral at 7 a.m. Instead, you wake up already calibrated, mentally aligned, ready to spend your brain's energy on actual problems. If you want to keep understanding yourself and everyone who confuses you, the next video's your next step.